Call me fuego, 93 like me. Fire in the sheets, spending summers on the sea. Quedo, she throw away home. Bearfield life on the day.
Let's be honest, Cam. It's been spicy so far today.
Yeah, let's go. People have just learned where everyone's dropping, gotten used to the initial rotations, and we are switching it up onto a new map. They got to relearn it all over again. Knowledge from Scribs, notwithstanding. Then explain path. Not too great. I still don't think it's as bad as that awful one that we saw in Miramar. But if you're not a Sosnovka Island player team, you're not going to be too super happy about this one.
You say it makes you unhappy. This is the circles that I've been wanting. Although I want something spicier than military. Give me something chaotic.
Spicier
Put it on the
than
bridge.
military?
Give it to me on the bridge.
Okay. I mean,
everybody's got to make the 50-50 choice. That's what I like.
See,
but
like when you say military is not spicy enough, that's like saying, oh, these buffalo wings aren't spicy enough, or this Thai dish isn't spicy enough. You want full-on ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper. I'm just here to prove my machismo level of spice.
No real big shots exchanged between them. Oath having to make a little bit of a stop, but it's going to be Execs that finds the shots back over towards Balefrost to take him down. Meanwhile, Pat Gaps and the rest of the crew chooses probably the worst crater to stop at because there is a full-on checks team right on the other side of it. So it's going to be a quick exchange back and forth between those. Robin takes a little bit of damage, has to retreat back away from it. Reinforcements now coming back in as all the surviving members right now for Oath are pretty close to position. The issue to note is it's hard to peek up back along this because Soniqs also has themselves a little bit of an angle, as well as shoot to kill. Hwin's going to go ahead and do a little bit of assistance back over, helping the other North American team as Oath can get their feet back underneath of them with just a ton of utility being thrown out. No, that frag goes just a little bit too far, but Oath looks like they might be thinking about making a push back over towards this. Cannot find the opportunity and knows the fact that they have to retreat back away from it. But Rarity is starting to take a little bit of a shot back behind them. A couple of bullets are going to tell them to get back behind that hill.
Oh, they have to run around, they have to manage multiple different angles, but here the hard shifts have retaken over the area that Furia had just left, and they have to fight against LTD, which means Maluk and Lobes are the only ones standing. They lost Chubba and Jason. Nades come in to try and find the last player in this dip of Randy, who's going to peek out, go for a fight, but sprayed down by Lobes.
See, look, Maluk ends up with his little dip that he scouted beforehand. There was a little bit of a cost of a few teammates, but all's well that ends well in the end. Duel now having to make their approach back over. Might be bumping into 303, also making a rotation back around that. One going north, one going south, though, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Do note the fact that Old Timers are still running a very wide split at this stage. And oh, Sharp Shot, I think, jumped out just a second too early. But Lekro is the last remaining member of Old Timers in this position. You can see another one playing back over next to Yasnaya, and the other one, I believe, in the Wizard Tower back over towards the west.
Old Timers are all running out in the middle of a field. This is either
Everybody's busy
the
shooting
most
each other.
confident play or some of the worst salvaging that I've ever seen. And the answer, it all depends on how far into this game they get. Everyone's moving away from the water because we do have the phase 4 shift coming our way, likely towards the southeast. But 303 unable to find their way even into this next circle because Rarity are making it incredibly hard.
Well, 303 looks like they're starting to commit back this direction. Dominic's already down. Deadeye taking a lot of damage, and Nate's trying to hold the line for his team, but he goes down as well. 303 manages to somehow turn this one back around, and it looked like it was going to be a catastrophe. And now Deadeye, the last one up, finally getting spotted, and 303 gets control of this complex right on the edge of the circle.
Oh, they just stole that away. The first two knocks went Rarity's way, so the fact that 303 are able to steal that back in their favor is amazing. And they actually have a little bit of time that they can get the revive here and sort of get their feet back under them because no one's going to be coming towards this compound. It's about leaving it that's going to be the real problem for them for the rest of this game, but they still have 3 up.
And congratulations, now we have 4 teams in craters right next to each other in a very awkward situation. I guess the question is, did meta bring grenades?
I don't know, but I think, yeah, this proves... Oh, there is still a frag on Hwinn. So you could throw that one out, but I think he wants to save that for confirmation. You do always want to have a few played in towards the late game, but because of that, they don't have a lot of options to try and unseat those 2 from meta. So the fact that Sparking and Rag are able to make that maneuver and survive is essentially almost a miracle.
Well, 303 is having a little bit of trouble. They're trying to leave their quality real estate that they got beforehand. Already has come at the cost of one person, potentially a second. Nice little vision back over there as we're just trying to hold that one out. And 303, don't run into the craters, man. Do not run into the craters. That's going to be a kill going back over towards picking that one up. And now the last surviving member for 303 knows to not go that way. Krex said, hey, this might be a good opportunity to jump back over as there's distraction going on, a firefight happens. And when that happens, Meta also looked back over, and then there was a quick exchange between them. So now that each one of these teams has done a little bit of damage, they retreat back down into their hillside. But since there's been a lot of noise, what does that mean? Shoot to kill. Trying to stretch back over there, seeing what's going on, and that could be very problematic for Soniqs.
Especially now they took care of 303, that's that potential backstabbing third-party angle dealt with, and now they can use the high ground, but Slappers are here with an alternative angle as well as Veritas. So I like that SEK are pushing forward, but unfortunately it's not going to give them many more opportunities still.
You can see what it's like down inside these dips and why nobody wants to look back over onto it. Pat keeps getting tempted, throwing out the last couple of throwables that they've got to work with right now, while Rez is going off back behind it, I believe. Yes. Shoot to kill. I mean, at this point, if you got a throwable, it feels like you could just throw it in there and get something, but Sonic says, hey, I've got a better idea. Instead of throwables, let's just use vehicles and start running people over. They run back over onto the other side of this one. They got control. They took down Meta Gaming, so that gives them a little bit more space to work with at the time, and is also a huge influencing factor as finally Meta Gaming is not going to be making it into the late game.
Finally. I think after 3, they're not too upset about that. Let's see what Veritas can do, what Oath can do in order to try and overtake or at least close that lead. Oath did a little bit of damage to Crash, but still only able to get one more kill. But now with the circle shift, are going to be forced to push forward. Wrapping up towards the north, I think is going to be suicide. But a lot of the teams on the north side who would have that angle to punish it are going to be in a fight amongst themselves.
All right, Creech, see, taking a couple of shots at range. Craters are going to be inside the safe zone. Pat did go down while he made a little bit of a peek back over there. Shooticle's going to have to move, but it looks like Veritas that's doing a backwards wrap onto him over towards the north. The last 2 members for Dodge. Actually, I believe the last member for Dodge is looking back over towards Furia. A little bit of trouble there, but Veritas rolls right back down. Good shot's going to be coming up from Civ to get back down over onto Michael. Meanwhile, another follow-up's going to come back over from Luke 12 to take down Jazz. The D treats the last one up, already down to below half-life. Just trying to use the Molotov to buy some more time from him. Blows up a little bit closer than he wanted, and there you go. It's going to end up being roasted as it's going to be a throwable coming out from Unciv and gets the takedown onto it. I thought he just exploded a little bit too close to the hole.
Yeah,
so
it looked...
My apologies.
It looked like it could totally splash back in his face, but no, it was, I'm assuming, a completely separate Molotov thrown out by STK. But they hold on to that position, but here come the hard shifts to close in where Veritas just were. But also Oath, another grenade comes out, is going to be a flash. Because Pat Caps has no more frags, but Slap shooting at him. He's shooting at STK. Again, these teams cannot push forward, but they've got to go for the full set.
Oh, I love it. Using the vehicles yet again to reposition. That's going to be another team eliminated, as it is just essentially a game of deadly leapfrog, jumping from one crater to the next. Hardships Maluk on a scouting mission on near on no life. That's not the crater you want to go after, my friend, but the problem is the one you stopped at isn't necessarily better, as Shoot to Kill's also stretching their legs back that direction. A little bit of split off coming as Lobes is going to be playing back along that little bit of a lip next to the road, chilling next back over where the Slappers are going to be at. But Old Timers now starting to make their push back down towards Duel.
It's just Penta up for Duel right now. Little bit of an aggressive push is getting punished with a revive on the sharp shot. Gives them an opportunity for a 2 versus 2. But they got to be aware of Execs on this side angle. They know he's there. He gets the heal off a couple of shots from Penta. They're going to throw out the frag. I don't know if that one's going to make it. It's quite a far angle to try and throw at. Just barely.
Lands back over in front of it. Looks like Old Timer's also going back for a reset. Sharp shot with Penta, a little bouncing from smoke to smoke, seeing if maybe they can get a spray back into him to connect to something. Maybe pull him away from it, but not going to be enough just quite yet. Instead, we're going to have a res Old Timers in a smoke separated fight right now. They're on top of each other. You can see bodies covering the floor all around them. Sharp shot trying to pick up some more utility to work with. Throws out something and it bounces off of Lecro. I-97 walks into the wrong angle. Lecro's trying to get shots back over. Finally does manage to take down Duel. cost was quite extreme for it, but at least does have himself a little bit of cover to work with. Fury is going to come in right back behind that. Lekro, you managed to hold out for a while, but this is a very strong squad moving up back behind you, and you are all by your lonesome.
Okay.
Luckily, you do have a lot of loot back behind you that might be able to get it for you, and Lekro is finding himself a little bit of a flush out as well. Just seeing maybe he can get something else, but throwables are starting to rain down. Can he get the shots in? No, he cannot.
He's at least able to secure one, but Furia now take that position over, and Slappers on the west side had a couple of angles on those fights on the east, but they're going to be forced to move from their compound out in the open. And this is 4 games in a row that is an empty center because of how open the entire terrain is. There are a couple of teams with a lot of members up, but most of them are still finding themselves out of this next circle.
Most notably, you can see it's going to be shoot to kill. It looks like they're vying for position, potentially where Lobes might be playing. Slapper is going ahead and hopping into vehicles, but the problem is it's drawing a little bit of attention. Shoot to kill says nope. Runs right over into Loeb's position, takes him down. Hardships get eliminated. Hambino's got himself a little bit of a defensive fortification that's in throwable range, and that is big coming out right there. That is a problem for Shoot to Kill. They rolled right up a little bit too close. Was not expecting anybody in the shack. Follow-up grenades are starting to rain back down, and Luke 12 is now the last one up for his squad, and Slappers are starting to get a little bit more vision on what's happening in the circle. The issue is now starting to become, what in the earth do we see Soniqs and Oath do from here?
Good question. Grenades come out. Hambino should be able to spot where that came from. But Alo's trying to crawl to Luke's position, just barely doesn't get there. Sophia's going to spot that as well. So Sophia's on the push. Very aggressively pushed up. They want to corner in this last player, and there he is. Luke goes down. Slappers now have control of the west side. Oath also goes down right when they make it into the top 4. So we can see their logo on the top just for a split second, because instead we're looking at the top 3.
Whenever Slappers made their play, all of that gunfire seemed like it was going to be the opportunity for Soniqs. Stepped back over towards it. M1me getting a couple of shots back over towards Hambino and flushing him down. Now it's all about the angles and how people want to play this out. Back to the due south, we've got 2 members of Soniqs. Back towards the northwest, we've got Slappers. Now Fury is starting to move out into the open. This is where it gets to be more and more problematic. Raspu sees the smoke line that's come back down behind this, trying to get back behind it. This could spell death for the Slappers. They're starting to aggress back over towards the Soniqs, and it's 2 different directions. Finally spotting it out, you can see Raspu lines up the shots, but it's going to be, in the end, it's going to be continued shots coming out from Shrimzy and the rest of the crew. Now down to a 3v2. Make that a 2v2 at the time, as Rusty Zera is down. Soniqs starting to creep their way forward. They know where one of the members coming out from Furia is, trying to connect, but there's just too much grass. They can't find the angle on it to get it down just quite yet. While all that's going on, Furia gets the res back over towards it. Shrimzy drops back down, and it's just a trench battle as each team slowly moves closer and closer towards each other.
It's not even a trench battle. It's the meme word defilade battle with a little bit of grass to hide some movement. Shrimzy and M1me, they know that they're in a rough spot in a 2 versus 3, but they actually don't even have all the information. Shrimzy is still peeking out towards the east, expecting a potential wrap from Furia, or at least prepared for one if it does happen. A couple of shots gives a little bit of information that there is a player in that particular angle, but it does force him to prone back down, but it's going to be M1me who comes up with the first knock.
So with this, we're back into the 2v2 situation. Keep a note. The center point is where nobody wants to play right now. Shrimzy keeps peeking back over towards Furia, has an idea on where the plays are going to be coming from, but you can see it's just too open. Unless you're just going to try to snake your way into that, you're going to die. So with this, M1me starting to move a little bit more back over along this angle. Hasn't spotted out anybody just yet, but here comes the smokes. Trying to see if maybe block some sight lines, move into those centered positions, force Furia to come to them. Spots out the down member who is crawling back over there, trying to feed information back over. Now Furia at least knows where one person is Soniqs crest, that 10-kill positioning. Shrimzy still on the hunt, peeking back and forth. Hasn't spotted anybody else out yet. Rusty Zera down on his belly, slowly creeping his way back along this line. M1me using the smoke walls, looking back over towards Raspu. Hasn't spotted him out just due to that little bit of a dip. Shrimzy's going to come over, provide a little bit more reinforcements, but there is just no information to work with. Peeking back and forth along the smokes, not going to see anything just yet. Finally spots out Rusty Zera. Get the shots back over towards him. Raspu pops up, goes for the strand one. Almost gets the second one, but it's just narrowly not enough as 12 kills go over to Soniqs as they take that round.
listen, that just proves that it doesn't matter what sort of flank, what sort of control you have. It doesn't matter if you can't land your shots. It was Soniqs that was getting the first knock time after time after time, despite being a 2 versus 3, despite Furia having the setup for the crossfire angles.